I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make a man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Not the boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Alfred.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alfred.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to be back with you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here and being patient with me. I've been kind of working on my trip behind the scenes. I had to make a couple of changes, so I just just didn't have time to really put anything out and just kind of getting everything together. I did post some of the signage that I made for the event. So I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that here in a little bit, but I'd like to say hi to everyone, even if I said hello to you guys in chat. Hey, Gail, thank you so much for being here, Gail. Gail says, we are Sebastian and Devlin's army. Thank you, Gail. And yeah, we are going to be talking about Devlin some more when I get back from the Remembrance for Sebastian. So um, we'll look forward to that. Hopefully, they'll have another update from Susan Samples. She seems to be doing the updates on his case. So I haven't heard anything from anyone that there was a new one that came out, right? Not yet. So they did two. One was after the Super Bowl and Olympics, and then the other one was on a Friday. Um, And then we looked into the expert that was consulted as well. I want to do a live on search and rescue specifically in cases in general, right? Not specific to any of the cases. I mean, we can apply it to Sebastian's, but not specific to Devlin's case. So we're going to plan for that when I come back from my trip. And Chuchi, it's so good to see you. So good to see you. Thank you so much for being here and always adding in these disclaimers. They're really, really important. And I appreciate everyone who helped with the trip. So anybody that helped with the trip also helped with a couple of special gifts that I did send out that were delivered in. So, hey, Bo, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And Witchy Mama is here. She says, smooch it, bop, bop it, flip it, tap it, dance on it if you wish, but please hit that like. Thank you. Thank you, Witchy Mama. I appreciate you. And hello, Miss Ann. And you know, it's bad weather for you guys out there. I know. Ann says she's got to stoke her fire up. And, you know, I heard there's a huge nor'easter, or I guess there's no such thing as a small nor'easter. But nevertheless, I hope you guys all have enough. We'll just say enough, and that you're staying warm and safe. So don't go out into this snow. You know, get everything you need and come home. Hopefully, there's toilet paper, and there's not a shortage of toilet paper. And thank you guys so much for the green hearts. To hello Kiki, thank you so much for being here and for hitting that like button. Hey Joe, Joe says sup chal. He said sup chal. I'm like, oh, we got accents. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Froggy. Good to see you. And hello, Holly S. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Also, let's see, we have, oh gosh, I think I've got doubles for a second here. And oh, Holly, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very, very much. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who sent in messages for the posters. So the posters that I made, I just printed them out because I thought it would be better than my handwriting. And the pens that I'm working with, they're kind of like a medium tip. So they're not like really thick, but they're not super thin either. So I wanted to just make sure they were, you know, displayed on there nicely and not in my chicken scratch. So there you have it. And so I was working on that. Like I said, I could probably show you guys. I don't know if we have to click the picture. Sometimes it just doesn't show it very well. But I use part of it as a thumbnail and part of it as you know, my big thing with the way that Sebastian's case has been handled, and the reason why I feel compelled to join the Gathering of Voices is because I do believe that when justice is delayed, it feels like it's denied, right? You're denying that justice from moving forward, and that's not justice, right? That's very hurtful to the family. Um, you know, especially when we have a case and no shade to the Guthrie family. If it's anybody's family member, it doesn't matter what age of a person, they're important, right? But when you think about it in terms of these young people who didn't have a chance, Sebastian only 15, he just turned 15 in December, and he went missing 2 months later, right? So just turned 15. For Devlin, we have just shy of 19. In comparison to someone who's lived for 80 years, it is sad that we don't have more focus on the children when it comes to large numbers and government assistance or FBI, what have you. Um, I have my views. I think there's good and bad, you know. I really do. I think there's good and bad, but I wish they would focus. And yes, Miss Froggy, it is cold in Missouri. I know it's freezing. It really it is. I heard a lot of people complaining back home, and it's chilly here, but like chilly here is different than the cold that you guys are going through. Um, so hope you have a safe trip. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Froggy, Mr. and Mrs. Froggy. Thank you so much. I will try to have a safe trip. I did upgrade to the SUV, right? I told you guys it was like $20, and I'm like, I'm gonna regret it if I don't do that. So I did do that. And so if it snows or something like that, I should be good. Um, and then also, so I'm moving my trip up one day. So I was supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but I'm actually going to leave Tuesday morning and drive a morning. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but it's more practical. And also, I wanted to stay an extra day to do a search for Sebastian. So actually search the area. Um, where he went missing, where Jen has some hot spots, right? So we're gonna do that. If you want to email me to because Jen and I have been coordinating it together. If you want to email me because you want the address of where we're meeting up, please only serious people, and don't be a psycho and show up at our meeting, for us to go searching for Sebastian. This is very difficult for me because it's not that I don't like hiking in the woods or going near the rivers. I enjoy that very much, but the reason that we're there is we're not looking for Sebastian hiding in the woods, and it's a very tough situation. So I would just ask that, as Jen was saying in her video that I've showed, be kind and respectful, right? And understand that if you're not there to help, then don't even bother, because it's not a joke. It's really serious. We're looking for glasses of Sebastian's, right? That's what he was said to have left with, a yellow keychain flashlight, and his clothing that we still have not gotten a positive ID on. So we're looking for black pants with white stripes down the side and a long sleeve black short shirt that has some sort of graphic. It was stated many times that it's either Minecraft, Star Wars, or Halloween graphic, and that's what we're looking for. I believe he wears a size medium shirt. So, I can't believe it's been 2 years, Mr. and Mrs. Froggy. I say this a lot, but I truly mean it in terms of I honestly thought that Sebastian would have been found, or at least something would move forward quickly here, because we know that these stories are absolutely not adding up. Do I believe that Katie and Chris are criminal masterminds? No, I don't. Do I think there's ever a perfect crime that someone's going to completely get away with? I don't. Not in this day and age, not with the technologies that we have. Um, And another reason why I'm attending this gathering is because I do believe that there is corruption in the area. And I think that Eric Craddock has absolutely let this case go to shit. From the very beginning, he did the wrong thing. Operating under only one assumption is not proper. Brenda Calvert, so good to see you. So it's just unfortunate. Now, we are going to be gathering in front of the police station. So on the 25th, we will be gathering there, and then the 26th, the group that I'm going with, right? So the main event and the day before. And then we're going to rest up Friday. Saturday, we're going to do the search for Sebastian. And I'm not going to publicly state where we're going. So you have to, if you want to participate, get a hold of me or Jen, and we'll kind of coordinate with people to give them a meetup spot. I heard through the grapevine, but I did not hear this with my own ears, that there was going to be noon cake. I know that Betty said, I heard with my own ears there's going to be cake. I heard that. I did not hear what time it was. I heard that from someone else, which is noon. So if you want to participate in that, I would, just let you guys know that. I know we share a lot of subscribers, but I did want to make sure that I was doing enough to make sure that people felt comfortable and welcome, and that we have a good turnout for this, because I think it's important. I really do think it's important. And I hope that the signs that I made, I hope they make it a difference and impact, and I hope they're understood, that I'm coming from a place of concern, love for Sebastian, and just any of the kids that are out there who are missing, but mostly Sebastian, because he has been gone for 2 years. And I just don't see how that could ever have happened the way it did. I just don't. Tony Mathis tells us there's mountains of evidence, right? That he was told by the sheriff's department when Seth had a renewed sense of law enforcement, right? But then some things happened there, right, where there was some mistrust. And I understand that. I do. I understand how frustrating it has to be for everyone involved, but I can't give that more weight than I do to a father who's missing his son, right? But I want to read you something from Nick Barris that he put out, that he thought was sufficient for Sebastian's 2-year remembrance day of him being reported and going missing, right? The last time Sebastian Rogers was seen was on camera. I should preface that he was last seen by his mother, Katie, but before that, he was seen on camera with her at the Texas Roadhouse. Now, we are to believe that Sebastian made it home, because that's what law enforcement has told us. Hello, WV Holla Girl. Good to see you. That's what we're supposed to believe. But they've told us a lot of stuff, and they've retracted a lot, and they have backtracked on things, and they have not been honest or forthcoming with information. And the fact that they wouldn't be forthcoming with information does not concern me as much as the fact that they are willing to lie about the information, because it's not illegal for them to do it. It's just concerning in terms of whether I respect or trust somebody, right? Because if you're going to lie to me, then you're disrespecting me. You're making me think that I'm stupid or something, right? Because am I going to believe that stupidity? No, probably not. Some people are good liars. Sometimes I do take people for their word, but you can't always do that. And again, Sebastian's last scene with his mother, Katie, out, and they want us to believe that they made it home, even though there's no proof of it. And furthermore, there's no proof that he made it out of the house. But we have the guy that released the flashlight video telling us that that's got to be probably, oh, I guess allegedly, in my opinion, Chris and Katie walking through the common area. And then we have Sheriff Snuggle Struggles and the rest of that team over there, Duck Dynasty, telling us that it's a trash truck. And then they change it over. It's no, it's not a trash truck. It's lights on a ridge, right? It's headlights. Okay. But they've changed it so often that how do we reconcile that? How do we come to any sort of conclusions on where Sebastian might be? And that's where Jen comes in with the astrology mapping, because I don't know where we would do a search unless we had the spots that Jen has, so great, put so much time and effort into. Right. So we're going to do that. And if you guys want to be a part of that, we're going to do it on Saturday. Right. So local people are very much welcome to come out. It's a Saturday, you're off work. I'm trying to sell this idea. So it's been a while since I've sold anything. So yeah, just come out and be a part of that. If you can't make it during the work week to the main event, please consider coming out and searching with us, because we need people out there. We need eyes and ears and boots on the ground, right? Because Sebastian deserves better, because Sebastian's worth this effort, and because, in my opinion, we need to just come together and do that. And so that's why I wanted to push my trip up. It's, I have it for the same amount of days, if that makes sense, but I pushed it up a day so I'd leave a day later, so that way I could be there 25th main event and then the search. I think that is a very good use of my time there. And I want to make sure that, again, I'm impactful, that we make a difference. So and Peace, Love, and Jeeps, I agree, incompetent or crooked, right? Which one is it though? Or is it a little bit of both? Which I think it might be a little bit of both. Thanks for being here, Peace, Love, and Jeeps. And hey, KJ Mac, good to see you. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're, or maybe it's just willful ignorance, I mean, it's very tough for me, again, to reconcile in my brain that we have a younger sheriff, right? He's not an old biddy. He's not set in his ways, even though he kind of acts like he is. I don't know. But he's educated. He was a detective. He was a motorcycle cop. I mean, he wore a lot of hats, right? He's traveled around the world, right? Because he was in the Navy. I'm assuming he went places in the Navy that usually they go place to place. So he's not sheltered in the community and never left his community, right? Because we do probably know people like that. That are very set in the way of life that they're used to, and they've never gone out and ventured out, right, of that bubble before. And those people can be hard to manage and to influence, so to speak, when it comes to the way things are handled, right? So we don't have that in Sheriff Snuggle Struggles, right? We have a guy who is educated, who's worldly, who has worked hard to get where he is. So what would he gain from the corruption? Money, maybe? I don't know. But I do know that there's always a trail. There's always a trail when there's money. Brenda Calvert says a defense attorney will ask the sheriff on the stand what else they have lied about. It hurts the case, in my opinion. I mean, I think it depends. I think you guys are maybe talking about civil action. It really depends. I liked how the Laundries handled it because they had to handle it that way. With Gabby Petito's case, because they weren't being told the truth at all. So Hello, IML. So good to see you. And Chuchi says, in my opinion, Craddock should hand in his badge and put on that apron and be in the kitchen while his wife makes boss moves. In my opinion, his wife also does make boss moves. I will say that his wife is, very pretty and also, like his age about, I don't know who's older or younger or what, but not by much, if anything. And yeah, making those boss moves. She did support Eric, even with the snuggle struggle debauchery. I hate to think that people can't change. I just know that they won't change unless they want to change. So it's tough, right? And who am I to judge somebody or say, "Oh, you didn't change a bit?" But you can kind of tell that Craddock will not address something even if it's staring him in the face, and that makes me worried. Because if I said the snuggle struggle stuff, and somebody said, Lady Freedom, when you back in 2009, I believe that's when he wrote it. You wrote about a snuggle struggle. Like, what the hell is that, right? And my problem too was that he wasn't laughing. He didn't have laughing emojis. It wasn't played off like a joke because I could see if somebody said LOL to that, right? Because then you're like, oh, they're just kidding, right? Like, shit, it's a shitty joke, not funny. But I'm just saying, like, you can find intention behind it. But when you hear that and you're like, it's cringy. Um, it's very cringy. But if I had said something like that, I would at least come out and try to be like, I'm sorry I said that. I don't feel good about it. I'm not proud of it now. I will make sure that it's taken down because, guys, it was left. The fact of the matter is it was left up. It did happen in 2009, but you readily find it when you look in 2024 because that's where I got my research was on Craddock in 2024. Who's the unopposed sheriff? That was the reason I wanted to look into Eric Craddock. So, thanks, Chuchi. Thank you. Gail agrees. She says, boom, Chuchi. Witchy Mama says, as a woman, there is a line not to cross, and that seriously offended me. It's not meant to be a pretty word, and yeah, it is. It's a freaking crime. It is. It is a violent crime, a horrible crime, right? I mean, it really affects people for the rest of their life, that crime, right? If they survive it, and all we have to do is look at the Epstein victims and listen to the stories that they're telling, and it's horrific. Or anybody who has ever had to deal with that type of trauma. Um, and it is. It's absolutely one of the worst, in my opinions, crimes. And we have a young man, you're right, he was younger back then, um, who thinks that that is cute, right? He thinks that that is appropriate, even though he's um, going to be a law enforcement officer. And I just think that, well, I know for a fact that that would be frowned upon. I'm not a Navy person, but I have family and I also have a lot of friends and things like that that have served. And that is not something that would ever be okay. So I don't even know how he got away with having it. Right. But obviously nobody reported it because that is, it's absolutely horrific, Witchy Mama, and it's, in my opinion, it's hard to forgive that, and it's not up to me, and he's not seeking my forgiveness or redemption, but in my opinion, it just goes to show who we're dealing with, right? So that's what's hard for me to, again, reconcile. Witchy Mama says, even teenagers should not joke or minimize violent crimes. Yeah, well, and I think, you know, there needs to be more awareness in schools about those types of crimes, right? One thing that, or one show that was very eye-opening to me, and I know it was based on a book, But 13 Reasons Why. This young lady was absolutely devastated after experiencing something like that, and come to find out it was a much larger issue within this little teenager community, right? School kids at this high school. And but it is a little community, right? I mean, I can think of a lot of my near and dear friends, that I just had such great times with in high school. I mean, I had the time of my life, when I was in school. So, but it just, to think that that was going on, and then you're trauma bonding with people. And if you haven't seen 13 Reasons Why, I highly recommend watching that, especially if you have teenagers. And if you feel like they're mature enough, it's probably a good thing to watch, because it sets up a lot of discussions that wouldn't otherwise happen, where, that awkward conversation where you're trying to get your kids to talk to you about, what's going on, and they don't want to talk to you because, like, you don't know shit because you're their mom or whatever. The teenagers, right? The teenage years. But it sets up a lot of conversations where if you can open that line of communication with your kids, it's a good thing. But I mean, those are the things that shame others not to come forward. And we're talking about a man who is not only going to see young women come through the door to report these crimes to them. It could be a young man, and that could be um, detrimental to his healing process, that he has to go to someone who thinks about rape being a strong word. Um, that he likes to minimize, like you said, Witchy. And yeah, I mean, to say it's distasteful is a huge understatement, but it's very distasteful and inappropriate. Hello, Shadow, good to see you. I was shocked when I saw it. I thought it might be like fake. Like, I'm like, damn, they're trying to set the sheriff up now, or this unopposed guy, right? I'm like, let me go look more into this, right? But I've learned so much in the Sebastian Rogers case that, it's absolutely not your normal case by any means, but there's reasons behind that. I believe, in my opinion, it's a circus that was caused specifically to distract us. And that's unfortunate, because it should be all hands on deck. Where is Sebastian Rogers? Excuse me. Where is Sebastian Rogers? This very nice looking young man who had so many years ahead of him, but he's been halted, whether he's out there somewhere or whether he is not still with us. But the fact that they're saying there's nothing is so concerning. Hello, Catherine. Good to see you. I'm going to show you guys this. I hope it shows the whole thing, or I might just show it to you, but read it to you. But it's a Nick Barris statement. So again, Nick Barris, he was the one that wanted us all to believe that the lights were flashlights. And then he changed it up, right? I think I might have spelled his name wrong in the post. Whoopsie daisy. Oh, well. Oh, well. I got Sebastian's name spelled right. All right. So, also want to point out with Snuggle Struggles, he is the only reporter who is friends with Eric Craddock on Facebook. And I have proof of that in my videos. I did a whole deep dive on Eric Craddock. And I showed a lot, right? Because he's a public figure and I'm able to do so. And people need to know who they're dealing with, who ran unopposed with nothing. So, okay, so never mind. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to read this to you guys. Now, this is some bullshit right here. This is okay. So first of all, it's a 2-year remembrance for Sebastian. And here we are with barely anything. So, I mean, this is 2 little screenshots, and then this was a collage that was put together by Oh boy. Right. So, Nick Barris. And again, he acts like, none of that ever happened, doesn't bring any of it up, is not probative in his statement, just basically very generic and, an oh well attitude, in my opinion. So this is from Nick Barris. So, like, I put it up there about 2 hours ago. So we're looking at probably like 4 hours ago that he wrote this. Sebastian Rogers, still missing, but not forgotten. It was 2 years ago this week, February 26th, that the teen who would now be 17 vanished from the family home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Now, I get it. He has to be professional in his reporting and maybe summarize a little bit about Sebastian. But I can tell you unequivocally, and if I'm wrong, sue me. Sue the friggin' pants off me. I don't care. Do what you got to do. We don't vanish into thin air, Nick Barris. And anybody else out there that likes to say that Sebastian disappeared, right? He didn't just, and I'm not saying that to be hateful. I get it. I've had to say it too, because that's how we're communicating the situation. But I can say unequivocally that that is one thing that I have cleared. All right, off my list. I've cleared it. We do not vanish, poof, disappear, none of that. No. As a matter of fact, we remain until we are found, if that's the case. So stop with your vanished bullshit and would now be 17. You don't know whether Sebastian would now be 17 or not. You have no idea. You haven't even tried. So what the hell? So this is weak. This is weak. All right. The Amber Alert remains in effect. Whoa, really? In the time since Sebastian vanished, there have been numerous searches in and around the neighborhood, and that part is true. We've had people search high and low for Sebastian in the immediate area. Statistically speaking, if we are going to recover someone, it is within a 2-mile radius of their house. Typically, right? Sometimes a 3 mile, it just kind of depends, but it's kind of like a little radius around where they went missing, right? In my opinion, from the research that I've done. We don't just go poof choochie, we don't. That's like saying that I could just make myself disappear. I mean, but still I'm going to remain, even if I hurt myself and take my own life. I'm going to still remain somewhere for someone's going to have to find me, which heaven forbid, that's awful, right? But, it's not like I could just make myself disappear where nobody would know or see me or hear from me again, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. That's the one positive thing. But thank you, Chuchi. Yeah, we don't just poof or vanish or disappear or go missing. Sorry. Or come up missing. Sorry. All right. So you guys know what I'm saying though. And I understand, again, that's the way we communicate the situation, but it's just not, it actually sounds very ignorant, right? Especially if we're really trying to find Sebastian. First of all, he did not disappear. So here we go. Knock that off the list. Check mark. Right? What's next? All right. So here we go with Mr. Barris. Sumner County EMA deployed officers on foot. Here we go. Drones, Zodiac boats. I don't fucking know what that is. Dogs and more. Can somebody tell me what a friggin' Zodiac boat is? Can you guys at least see that shit? Hold on, let's see. Night Court. Oh yeah, what the fuck is a Zodiac boat? What is that? Am I missing something? Or am I just dense? Do I just not know? Hello, Seth. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you, Seth. Thank you for being here. Jeez Louise. How would he feel, heaven forbid, if something happened to someone he cared about and the response he got implied snuggle struggle, never okay? I know, peace, love, and Jeeps. And that's the thing. I think that there is a big failure when it comes to Sheriff Craddock and the way that he can put himself into other people's shoes. I do. I think there's a disconnect. And I don't know if there's a disconnect because that's what he's been taught or that's how what his personality is like, but there is an absolute disconnect. And then we have the off-color comments and the very like dark humorous you know, like I'm not referring to the snuggle struggle comment, but when I did the deep dive on the sheriff here, um he was saying other things about women, right? Like, we don't like to get along with each other. We're horrible, and things like that. Now, I agree. It can be, sometimes women see each other as competition and whatever. I don't recommend that. I think we should stick together. Hey, Doodle Mom. Especially like look at our great community that we have here. We're mostly women and a lot of us get along and enjoy each other's company and ideas and communicate well and all of that. Gail says between sheriff, no evidence, and a trash truck, CP, all they like to do is insult our intelligence on Sebastian's case, in my opinion. Yeah, Gail, it's tough. It's a tough thing. And then also this Nick Barris, and I understand that he works for the network. Like I've tried to, stick up for him where I can because I do understand certain circumstances. But I do think that there's a big problem when it comes to him retracting these things and he put that stuff out there. Like I just couldn't. I just couldn't continue on knowing that he's putting this info out. Um, Brenda Calvert says, in my opinion, the sheriff was pissed. Nick Barris put out a piece of the 3 a.m. lights, and they have shut him out ever since. So they tell him nothing new every time he asks. Well, I mean, that could very well be. But they are friendly on Facebook. So they've been friends for like a long time. And I'm wondering, well, throughout Sebastian's case. Now, I don't know about prior to that, but it was very telling because he got the interview with Craddock. So did Caitlin Quisenberry and another lady on the first couple days. But when they really realized, in my opinion, that they weren't dealing with Sebastian running away, when that was able to set in, I think they continued, in my opinion, with saying, "Oh, we're only operating off of one assumption." I do think that they might have been playing it safe with the public, and then also because, as we know, Chris and Katie like to stalk, like everybody that's saying things about everything, and then get in front of the narrative. They were doing that, quite frankly, with every single hate channel on the internet that they possibly could, but then they were also trying to kind of recruit other people. And then I don't know where he found the time, but Chris was calling in and doing prank calls and voice changers and things like that. Which is what that group likes to do. So yeah, Peace, Love, and Jeep says the result, nothing, no evidence. This is why Sumner County needs to give the case up. I mean, I agree. If they can't handle it, then why have they kept it so long? But then I also think that they may have some embarrassment because of the way that it was handled initially. The mothership doesn't come and get you either, Chuchi. I know. I'm still waiting for those alien files, right? Before I say that's a definitive no. I'm just kidding. I saw a little bit about that on the break. Because I had some time to listen to some podcasts, while I was like, getting ready for my trip and, getting things in order and things like that. So I'm just like listening, right, to some of, the more current events, getting caught up on a little bit of that. Seth says they are normally not used by LE. And Witchy Mama says Zodiac boat is a highly durable inflatable. Oh, okay. So is it the fan boats? Like those boats? Okay. I see. Inflatable ridged-hulled inflatable boats, BSs, RIBS, ranging from 13 to 30 feet. Okay. Renowned for being virtually unsinkable and stable and versatile. Okay. So maybe they can go places that the other boats can't. That's interesting. I've never heard of a Zodiac boat before. Zodiac boat is an inflatable boat that's used in tough places. Okay. I was thinking I saw those boats that they had out on the water when the Cajun Navy was there that had like the big fans on the back. You guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know what exactly it's called, and I was like, maybe it's that, but it sounds like these are a little different. I know like hovercrafts, certain hovercrafts can go different places too. I know they were using the ATVs and side by sides or four wheelers, however you want to say it. Um, that's right, Brenda. That's right. Barris either got threatened or paid to shut up. Well, I mean, I wonder. I'm sure they weren't happy. I agree that they probably weren't happy with him putting the information out prematurely or whatever. I don't think that Nick would went to law enforcement to ask to do that. Um, and then once it was out, right? We can't unsee it, type of a thing. Um, so yeah, but for him just to back out, yeah, Gail, I mean, there's got to be something, or he didn't want to lose his job, so because I know they also have to approve certain things. Like when you're in the public eye, you can't just go out there and say whatever you feel like willy-nilly. Um, you're bound to. Nick B is one of the mouthpieces for Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Boom. I mean, Seth, that was my feeling when I knew that he was friends with Craddock when I discovered that, I should say. When I discovered it, I was like, yeah, nope, this is fishy. He wants to be part of the Duck Dynasty Club. Chuchi. Exactly. He didn't trust people that show I don't trust people that don't show any integrity. They can't be trusted. That's so true. Coffee, crime, and cats. And if you're willing to lie, I mean, that's the thing. It's frustrating then, because then it's like, okay, well, you said it was this, and now we don't. That's what I was thinking. Airboats, Brenda Calvert. Yeah. And hello, Sammy. Sammy says, I felt like Jen Coffindaffer also got some directive from the Bureau. They had her walk back because she did a complete turn. Yeah. Then started coming back. We need Maureen. She'd give it to us straight. Well, and I mean, I was very surprised that Jen Coffindaffer was not aware of all the characters in Sebastian's case. And I say characters, like she didn't do her research, right? Like you look into people surrounding the victim, right? And not to call Sebastian that, but I'm saying just for terminology of cases, right? So even um when we're looking at a case, we start, in the middle and work our way out, right? We start with where they were last, who they were with last, and work our way out, right? But then, it's always just come back to Katie. But she's not seeming to do that. She's not seeming to look into people, and that's what the FBI does. Like literally, they looked in people's trash cans and found evidence and receipts and things like that they turn over, to prosecute. So it blows my mind. It really does. Sammy, I believe so too. In my opinion, she acted scared to me during that live. Yeah, I mean, and it's very easy to talk, right? And once you say something that you're not supposed to say, then I mean, then it's like, what do you do next? So yeah, she caught herself up. And Seth says if you wanted if it was planned, like seeming like it is, have to wonder if some of these key players are more involved in human trafficking than we realize. I mean, I've definitely considered that greatly because of all of the RSOs, because when you have that element, that's going to be something that would, they would have connections to people that would be willing to do that to someone, and I mean, I would just have to agree. I do think it was planned out. Whatever took place was planned out. I can't shake that Sebastian looked like, Katie was telling him, whether he was in trouble or she was telling him something. But neither one of them makes me feel, warm and fuzzy inside, at all, because it was a very awkward and concerning dinner when we see that body language, whether it is because Sebastian was hearing something he didn't want to hear, or being told something he didn't like to hear, or if he was being scolded. Because it bothers me too that they were saying he wasn't even in trouble. It make more sense if we'd been fighting. Those things just kind of stick in my head as some of the first things that Katie was, her original stories are so important. That's why we've kind of gone over the Duchess interview a couple of times. The first one, right, when she first went on there with Chris, then when she first goes on there, gosh, what was it, Holly Thompson first, and then the Only Hands interview. Also the Fox interview where they were showing pictures and we were like, well, where's Sebastian? Where's Sebastian in the picture? Because I'm pretty sure I know what he looks like, because we need to be looking for him. Type of thing. And what's with the people making AI photos of Sebastian that don't look like him? Can anybody riddle me that? You guys taught me what the Zodiac boat is. Can anybody enlighten me on that? Because I don't get that. Peace, Love, and Jeep says, very valid point, Seth. If you would go and watch Adam Brown, he has one of them boats and he uses it all the time. Him and Nook use one of those Zodiac boats. Okay, Miss Ann, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know what the heck a Zodiac. I never heard them say a Zodiac boat ever. So okay, so I need to go watch the Search Guys. I'm not a big person to watch the Search Guys. I'm not a search guy, right? Like that's why I'm so grateful for, the search and rescue team in Devlin's case, that I've been able to work with and bounce ideas off of from time to time. Because he's always going to look at it differently than me, right? I'm not going to conversate with somebody who agrees with me 100% of the time. If I find somebody that's smarter than me, I'm going to work with them, right? It doesn't matter if it's in any certain area, because there's other areas that I'm smarter than them in, right? And that's where we have to put our ego aside and be like, this guy knows his shit, right? And I just will work with people like that, that'll teach me things and challenge my ideas, instead of just agreeing all the time. So yeah, it does make you wonder, Kiki. It does, absolutely. And Valley Gal is here. Hey, Valley Gal. Seth, I wonder that as well. Yeah. And I mean, those are the things that we need to start thinking about in order to try and figure out where we need to look next as well. I mean, those clues are very important. I mean, look at the channel Isaiah lady, how were calling stuff out. Now I can't even find that channel. Oh. I was looking for Psalms the other day and I can't find Psalms, Kiki. I don't know what happened to the channel. So I'll have to figure out, because that channel was calling out a lot of corruption. in Tennessee. So, I mean, I don't know why he would want to lose any of what he has. He's got it made, right? He's the sheriff, right? He has a great background. I mean, he could probably go anywhere. He's got this to add to his resume, right? He's got a beautiful wife, kids. I don't see why he would be putting that on the line for Chris and Katie. There has to be something more to it if he's doing it on purpose. And I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, what's the deal? Do your job. Find Sebastian, right? It's not that hard. It's just do what you're supposed to be doing. You know? Which he says, sadly, that is a very valid point, Seth. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I don't trust politicians and most people I don't know. Well, which I think that's a good thing. You know, I don't trust them either. You know, I don't trust the politicians and sadly, a lot of the law enforcement agencies, you know, I have to give the benefit of the doubt sometimes, right? But it does make you wonder why they're turning the other way, or they're not applying what they know to apply, which we're asking them to apply these techniques or these strategies, and they're simply failing to do so, right? And we shouldn't have to tell them how to do their job, right? I'm not going to go in someplace where I'm not knowledgeable and tell them how to do things. But I mean, all you have to do is see what's worked in the past. It seemed like they were interested in that. Ken Widener going and talking to people who have solved cases of a child who's autistic that walked off or ran away. Right. But that was the only option they were willing to look at. And then they just decided to shut it all down, it seems like. I mean, yes, they did look at the landfill, and they did allegedly serve a warrant on the Proudfoot residents. That's another thing I've been thinking about lately is, why would Chris brag about that? Especially to a podcaster that he doesn't know from Adam. Maybe we should answer that one too. You know, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this case, and there has been. Yeah, I think at this point, Sammy, you know, no matter what, like, even if Sebastian's found, right, and he's safe and sound, there's still going to be things that he's gone through in the last 2 years. He was kept against his will. You know, that's why I say justice so strongly here. When justice is when it's delayed like this, it's denied. You might as well call it that, because it's not been fulfilled. And that's why I say Sebastian needs justice, because some people might be like, well, you don't know what happened to him. How do you know he needs justice? Well, I do, because he's been away from his mom. He's been away from his dad. He's been away from his grandma, you know, whoever he loved and cared about. His whole world has been shut down. So you mean to tell me that that's not someone who has been through hell? Because if I was 15 years old and I was plucked out of my life, it wouldn't be a good thing, especially if Sebastian knows who decided to do that to him. Do you think he feels great if his mom sent him away somewhere? I'm going to say no. You know? What happened? What changed on a dime, Brenda? I stopped watching her after that. Oh, I see who you're talking about. Okay, you used two ends. I was like, what did Jen say? I didn't even watch. I haven't been watching the Nancy Guthrie stuff as much, because I'm trying to keep my focus on Sebastian, right? It's difficult with distractions, right? And I'm not saying, again, I feel like a dick. I'm not trying to be one. I'm not. I don't know why the children don't matter. Catherine says, did Jen Koff say it was more complicated than people think or something? Or am I remembering wrong that she stopped talking about it? Well, no, she was Catherine to the best because I stopped watching Jen Coffin Daffer too, and the reason was is because she started talking about how the lights don't have any evidentiary value, you know, and maybe she has a source or something like that, but yeah, I just find it odd. I do. So you shut of acetone, not whiskey. Trump's gonna fix everything. Well, Joe, if you're rich, he'll try to, you know. Yeah, if you're rich, he will try to, come to the rescue. You know, Seth, I wonder if you can check with Tim Burchett. I hope I said it right, Burchett, to get some help. And in my opinion, worth a try. He's all for children, in my opinion. Aw, that's so sweet. Kiki, I think we need more people like that because the children are our future, right? If we don't have kids to run everything, then when they get older, then who's going to do it? Our world's already in bad shape, you know, unfortunately. So, um, Seth says I got Joe blocked. Oh Lord. I don't I can't say I blame you. No, Joe actually has good things to say, but he acts as if he's silly. He acts silly. You know. Kiki says yes, that's what I meant, lady. Psalms. Okay, calling stuff out. I can't find it either. I'm gonna have to see. Well, that was gosh, I know that was another thing. So I ended up watching um and don't shoot the messenger or love me hate me, guys. I have differing opinions on things, and I process things, I call them how I see them and stuff like that. But I did have a chance to watch, and thank you, Kiki, for your super chat. Thank you so much. I had a chance to watch the Charles Ramsey who uh rescued the 3 girls plus the baby, because right, this guy had these 3 girls kidnapped. Um, so yeah, they do, Seth, they do weird things, don't they? Unexpected, they're unpredictable in my opinion, unreliable in my opinion. Um, so hello, Ava, good to see you. And Brenda says, Jupiter's delight, in my opinion, the foot's own mouth will be his undoing, in my opinion. We just need the right person to step forward. Yeah, I think so too, Brenda. I do. I think so too. I think that what they have done in terms of the overconfidence, right? And just going panel to panel and laughing it up. I think that that's going to be a big part of their demise, so I just do. But let's read a little bit more about this search that they've done, right? So they retraced the steps of the previous searchers to see if anything was missed, right? Anything, all in caps. Okay, settle down, simmer down there, Nick. And they looked in some new locations outside the original grid. Okay, so where did they look? Because at this point, if they could tell us where they've looked and they've checked off, there, then maybe we could figure some stuff out. Um, Thanks, Doodle Mom. Thank you. I actually I know the person. Um, I just need to email. I've just been, like, I mean, I did cut color, did my nails, all that, while I was on the break too. So that was part of me getting ready for my trip. Haha. But I wanted to make sure that I got all that stuff done. Um, I could reach out to him again, but I never heard back from reps not within my area. Yeah, see, oh. I know that you were strongly writing letters, and doing, I know that you're doing a lot, Seth. So I see what you did there, lady, with the messenger thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know. Sad. I mean, I'm like, I know, but well, I felt kind of bad because I was like, well, what's Nick doing? Is he going to talk about Sebastian? But they did like their live was good. It was very okay. So some of the language, I was like, wowza, you know what I mean? Like, oh, and you guys know I could have a mouth on me too if I'm, getting with it, and it's night court. And sometimes during the day, if I'm mad enough, I might spit some profanities, but um yeah, yeah, we had Mr. E. I just love Mr. E. He did such a good job. And then we had Crime Time Buzz up there with Nick the Hat and Charles Ramsey, right? And I was calling him Mr. Ramsey, but I guess he didn't want to be called that. So because I did catch up on the those festivities that they put out there. Because apparently they were supposed to have him helping, but then he didn't have a live stream. It was scheduled for the 19th, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that there was a live stream. So I went over to his channel, but I couldn't find the live stream or whatever. So I thought, bummer, so yeah. But some of that, the story, right, behind what Charles Ramsey did was very interesting. Um, he did not know, according to him, that his neighbor was harboring these three girls that they were looking for. In that case, one of the mothers of one of the young ladies knew this man who ended up taking his own life because he's a huge coward. He has, no cojones, right? And so he didn't want to be locked up like he locked those girls up for 10 years, so he took his own life. Either way, he, in my opinion, with my beliefs system, he's not going to get away with it in the afterlife. But nevertheless, he did. He had the gall to give one of the victims' mothers, or he was participating in the vigils, and he was participating in all of the remembrances and things for the girls because they were found, not far away from where they were taken. Again, like I said, statistically, we find that. So he had enough nerve to take one of the flyers that one of the girls' mothers had given him, and he brought it back to his victim and said, your mom is out there looking for you, right? And so she took that flyer, and she decorated it and kept it. And when she was finally freed, her mother said that that was the first thing that was handed over to her was the flyer, right? And I think that that piece was so very important. That piece of what was told in this story was a very strong reminder of a couple of things. One, that we should never lose hope. That's number one, first thing, always. There were people that were telling this one mother of one of the girls, one of the mothers didn't get her child back before she passed away. She ended up passing away, and she did so without knowing where her daughter was, which is absolutely heartbreaking. But the other mother was telling people, it was the same girl with the flyers being passed out, that her daughter was going to be found, right? She says, my daughter's going to come back through the door, right? So always hope is so important. No matter what anybody tells you, they don't know. they have no idea. I don't care if they say they can see the future, or they know things, and I get that, because I do think people have gifts. But even if they tell you that, that doesn't mean that you have to believe it, right? Always have hope. Yeah, she said the flyer gave her hope, right? Peace, love, and Jeeps. You know what I'm talking about, girl. I mean, that is so paramount to getting through it, right? I mean, just for the person who's being held and for the parent. And people were like, of course, being people, they're like, oh, yeah, this lady thinks her daughter's coming back, And it's like, well, but you don't know that she's not, right? So there's a lot to that. Hope for both. Um, but it was also an important reminder that these people are so sick, and they are so bold and brazen, and they want to follow the case because they want to know if anybody is on to them. So they want the heads up. And so they do insert themselves where they shouldn't be. And it reminded me of Chris Proudfoot sending people to the vigils for Sebastian. And people might say, well, that's not a very strong correlation. I think it is, because he can't stand to think that people will be there theorizing, talking, sharing information that he's not privy to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What a prick. Okay. So I think that the message was strong. And that's what I'm going to say, because it made me think. It really made me think. Again, this guy was very bold and was inserting himself. And it also goes to show that even though people think, a certain theory or a certain type of way about a situation, it doesn't always mean that they're correct, right? We have to theorize in order to come to a solution, because we have a problem, right, that we're facing. We're trying to find a solution to it. And the problem is that we have a missing child since, 2 years ago, and he has not been found. We're being told here that there's no evidence. They've looked and looked and looked over and over and over again. The result, ? Nothing, no evidence. What a crock of crap, right? So let me just read this next part. There are plenty of theories, but absolutely no evidence revealing what happened to Sebastian. I call bullshit on that. I really do. I can't believe that they would have zero evidence, because no evidence is evidence, right? So they at least have that. And then they also were saying that they had mountains of evidence, and we heard that, right? And we have to consider that, in my opinion. Yeah, Seth. I'm trying to maintain a professional air when it comes to my mouth. I can be as dirty as a sailor. It just doesn't serve a purpose in the long run. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I will say that there, where Charles Ramsey is from, the way that he was talking was very raw and real. He wasn't putting on any airs about himself, in my opinion. So I give him that too. Because he's being really just matter of fact in a lot of it. But he's also a storyteller, and I think that's what was captivating about him, and why he went viral, right, for saving these girls, is because of how he was saying things, right? And it just got the story out there to everybody. And then he was doing interviews and he was talking to people and he was being like, when you hear the 911 call, that was another very powerful moment where he was just like, he's like, "Does she need an ambulance?" He's like, do you need an ambulance?" And he looked at her and he's like, "You know what? She needs everything, right? Like she needs assistance right now." Those 911 calls always get me fired up. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, what are these dispatch, I mean, the first thing the guy says, Charles that is, when he calls 911 is he gives his exact location. I'm at 123 Main Street, right? Um, because I don't remember the exact address, but he said, "I'm at 123 Main Street." And the guy's like, "Where are you? You need to slow down." I'm like, "Whoa, we need more training or we need the boot." This person is not listening, and we need somebody who's a good listener in a position that you're taking an emergency call, in my opinion. Um, so the last one I seen, because I haven't seen her in a while, was Charles Ramsey on it. Yeah, yeah. Um, I watched that one too. And then he was supposed to do a live on the 19th, but he didn't. Hey, Forget Me Not, good to see you. Forget Me Not says Ariel Castro kidnapped them in Cleveland, Ohio. Psychic Sylvia Brown told one mom on TV her daughter was dead. She's alive. Amen. Amen, Forget Me Not. And I didn't know it was Sylvia Brown. That's the one that's was on Montel. Did she go on Montel? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and why and ooh, I know. I mean, I wouldn't have the heart. Um, I just wouldn't. I would never wanna have somebody lose hope. It's a lot like when somebody says, "Well, your child's never gonna do this or that," or like, how does somebody know what somebody's going to do? They don't, you know? And gosh, I'm the type of a person, if they tell me. Oh, yeah, the strength is great. The strength is great. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, Hello, I'm a cupcake too. Says what love? What love? They will always be close, knowing that your mother is looking. I can't even think of the words. Oh my gosh, I know. She decorated that flyer and she kept it. That was DeJesus who did that, the young woman. But I would like to kind of maybe talk about that one night and show and review some of it. I would have to pull it in and take some of the language out. I will say, like I said, I respect anybody who is going to be themselves, right? I tell people all the time, just be yourself, be true to you, be true to who you are. So if I was to be like, well, Mr. Ramsey offended me with his language, well, that's how he talks, right? So, um, but I do want to kind of lighten it down just a little bit so I don't get dinged on here because some of it was but some of it was quite hilarious. And like I said, he's a good storyteller. Charles Ramsey would be good with telling a story. He's also he has some pretty good critical thinking skills. They were talking also about Summer Wells. Hello, YouTuber is here. Thank you for being here. That's why I made a 10-part series for Seth and Sebastian on my channel of missing and found alive after many years to keep people looking for Sebastian because he could be close by, in my opinion. Deafening silence, thank you for being here. And I think that that is very well said. I do. I think that, and I will definitely go check it out if you don't mind if I find some good pieces in there. I wouldn't mind sharing it out here too. Um, because it's so important after we are getting over this 2-year remembrance, right? We're going through it right now. It's extremely difficult. It really breaks my heart, so I mean, I had a lot of things to catch up on in terms of all of that. But also just some of the crazy other things that were going on the streets. and I would definitely love to listen to that, because that's going to be on my travel playlist. So thank you, Deafening Silence. And if one of the mods doesn't mind to go over and just drop Deafening Silence's link, because I appreciate your hard work on a 10-part series. That is a lot of work, and I appreciate you for that. I think that if we are only going to operate off of one assumption, like Sheriff Craddock, that we're doing ourselves a disservice to Sebastian's case. But I think at this point, we can also deduct from some of the facts that we know, right? And kind of come up with maybe two. I feel like we're at a fork in the road in a lot of ways, um, in Sebastian's case, when it comes to, did he make it home? Did he not make it home? But then I also remember that even if we figured out whether he made it home or not, we still don't know what happened next. And that's going to be key in finding where Sebastian is. But going over some of what has been said, I think is also important. But what makes it very difficult is that Chris and Katie's story got a 52% truth rating, right? And that was based on statement analysis. And so I think that it was spot on, because I've always known that most of what they're saying to us is not true. The problem is that we don't know exactly what's true and what's not true. And that's what makes this very difficult. Not pervy, YouTuber. Yeah. Chris's favorite statement. And even though we all teased him about it, he still says it that way. Talk about stubborn. Woo wee. And Texas Roadhouse Video has a lot of stuff going on. I agree. Peace, love, and Jeeps. That would be some sort of evidence. I think so. I think so. KP and SF sure hurried to the Texas Roadhouse supposedly, but why? I mean, that's the thing. They wanted to get it before anybody else did, I suppose, or they wanted to see where their pain points were in order to kind of, figure out, where the fires were going to be so they can put them out. You know, that's my opinion. Because I mean, Katie was there; she knows what happened. But maybe she wanted to see what everybody else was about to see. You know, because there's a lot of cameras in Texas Roadhouse, and there could have just been footage that was gathered from them walking in the door, not necessarily sitting and eating, but they kept it for a reason, because they gave it over to Dog's team, apparently, that, allegedly, from what I can understand. Seth says right there, lady, is one reason why I haven't gone live as of late. Besides my computer issue, I don't want to tell anyone what I'm working on behind the scenes. Yeah, and I mean, it's that's understandable. It's tough, because it's like the public can help, but you have to also be careful with what you let out, right? And plus, in this case, it's just been very difficult to do anything, because you have to keep things under wraps, because you want to make sure people are safe, and that, things are going to go smoothly, even with the search. Like, I would love to say every single person that would like to search, come search. But then I also get a little bit nervous, because, some people don't have the best of intentions. Some people do. Some people are great. And they really just want to come there, and they don't have any agenda. They just want to search, right? Let's look. So we have an area to look for. All we have to do is use our eyeballs, and look for items, look for anything that may give us a clue. But it's not that simple in this case. I watched you struggling, Seth, in the beginning with keeping people safe, keeping the searches, going without having too much crap going on, putting it lightly. Sumner County Sheriff's Office has evidence. They like to call it a trash truck. I mean, YouTubers here, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, we're noticing some of that going on, retracting of statements and things like that in Nancy Guthrie's case. Look, I'm not an FBI agent. I never will be an FBI agent. But I can tell you that there is absolutely a pocket on one of the backpacks in question, or what they think is the type of backpack, and the one that the perpetrator was wearing did not have a pocket. It's clear to see there's no pocket. So why are they pushing a narrative that they found this brand of backpack that's the one that the person had? Because that's what I'm interested in that case, is identifying that person's brand new clothing and where they got it, because that's where you're going to find them, very easily. So who bought that little get up and when did they buy it is my thing. But I mean, when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, why would you? I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure like even a 5-year-old could be like, is there a pocket? What's the difference on these two bags? One has a pocket, one doesn't. Boom. Bob's your uncle. Aw, forget me not. It says Charles is a MF hero. Aw. I agree. I think it was, very, very sweet, of him to continue to also be in contact with the girls, make sure they're okay. You could tell he's protective over them. Aw, thanks, Holly. Thank you so much, Deafening Silence. Thank you very, very, very much. I mean, I'm like that too. We need to put our heads together and figure it out, Hey Heather, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hi everyone. I only learned of Sebastian Rogers just over a month ago. Oh wow. I don't know how I didn't get the news when he went missing and it went nationwide. But ever since I learned of him, I've been praying. Oh, thank you, Heather. I appreciate your prayers. Very, very much so. It always amazes me because I am kind of in the YouTube verse too much because I'm just surprised when people are just learning of Sebastian, but I'm glad that you are, and I'm glad that you're praying for his safe return. That's one thing that we can absolutely do to make a difference. Oh, thank you, Kiki. Thank you guys. Thanks, Holly. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Hey, Tori, good to see you. Thank you for being here. So I know 52% is, I mean, spot on, isn't it? So yeah, exactly. They did. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, and to be in there for 10 years, my goodness, my goodness. And right by their house. I mean, they were like right in the same area. Okay, so we'll go back to this baloney because it's almost over. It's short. So the last time Nick Barris heard, oh, I'm sorry. I'll reread this part. So he goes on to say there are plenty of theories, but absolutely no evidence revealing what happened to Sebastian. The last I heard from EMA, the Sumner County Sheriff's, and TBI, the message was the same, nothing new to report. They continue to investigate all leads. No one is giving up. And yes, I can tell you there is frustration and great concern. The hope is there will be a break in the case, but as things stand now, Sebastian Rogers' disappearance remains a confounding mystery. Tips can be called in to 1-800-TBI-FIND. What do you think? Right? So I don't know. What do you guys think? It's, I mean, first he says all credible tips have been investigated, right? He said that in this previous part, but then he says later that all of the tips have been investigated. So did they investigate only the ones that they found to be credible, and who makes that determination? That's part of the problem. Who's determining what is valid and what's not? I mean, most people would say, well, you should trust law enforcement to make that determination. But in this case, it's hard to, especially if I don't think that they're putting their best foot forward. Hello, Marion. Good to see you. Peace, Love, and Jeep says, Crime Time Buzz says Charles Ramsey is joining Sebastian's case. Does anyone know in what regard? So that's what I was wondering myself. To Peace, Love, and Jeeps. So apparently he is going to be planning a trip to the area, and I don't know if he's going to be doing like private eye work or something like that. I couldn't really grasp in what capacity he was going to do what he says he's going to do. I do think that any help is good, right? But I do get a little bit I don't want to say nervous, or maybe it's like, I don't know. I just worry. I just hope that, people are doing it for the right reason, because I do question that. And I can't help but question that because of, how things have gone. If you're going to truly look, or if you're going to join the search, then join a search. Do what you say you're going to do. That's right. That's right, Marion. Yeah, absolutely. It's never too late to find someone alive, or at least there remains praying Sebastian is safe. Yeah, I mean, we have to continue to look, right? We need to, and a fresh set of eyes is a good thing. That's why I'm so glad to have people that are just coming on or listening about the case, because maybe they're going to see something that we haven't seen, right? Because we're so close to it. And I think that new people coming in is always a good thing, as long as, they're trying to find Sebastian, because that's the goal. And that should be, what everyone wants, So, I mean, if you're going to come onto the case, I hope your heart is there. Anne says, it's cold here tonight in Alabama. Oh my goodness, I hate the cold weather. My sinuses are all messed up because of the hot and cold. Oh my gosh, I know. I heard that the weather was so nice in different places, and then all of a sudden, I know we're supposed to get some rain on the 26th in Tennessee. 80% chance. But I'm hoping and praying that maybe it'll be a little bit less than they're expecting. Yeah, YouTuber, I'm with you. How could all the tips have been investigated when Sumner County Sheriff's Office has tips forwarded to the phone mailbox of a retired employee? Exactly, YouTubers here. And that's precisely why we can't stand for it, right? I mean, we really should not stand for this. It's unfortunate that's the case. And also, when you send tips to the TBI website, it is not manned. It's not like it's an active tip line. It is a tip line that they check every now and then. Time is of the essence. It really is. So, Peace, Love, and Cheap says, yes, boom, YouTuber, exactly. Yes. YouTuber, also, I still wondered about another number that they put on the FBI flyer that was listed to several people, and it went to Knoxville. Yeah, and they said the field office, the FBI field office is actually listed on Sebastian's flyer as Nashville. So the Knoxville thing is off, I think. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. The last person or people, if CP was there, has something to do with Sebastian's disappearance, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so, Marion. I think that all the roads lead back to Katie, right? Like, even if we're going outwards and then we're like, okay, we've gone all the way as far as we think we can, right? Because I'm not saying that Sebastian couldn't be out somewhere where we haven't looked, right? Obviously, he's not where we have looked, unless something was looked over, or excuse me, overlooked. So it's quite the dilemma. You know, I think that when we look outward, though, it keeps bringing us back to the fact that Katie was the last one with her son at the Texas Roadhouse confirmed. That's the last time we can confirm Sebastian was with Katie. And then she herself is trying to convince everyone, or has told everyone, that her and Sebastian were the only ones in the house that night. Just her and Sebastian, no one else. Right? She's been asked that question many, many times. You know, who was there? You know, it was just me and my son. Right? Who was in the house that night? Sebastian and I, right? Because my husband is working in Memphis. Right? And Chris said he's working in Memphis at the St. Jude Project, you know, all nervous, stuttering when he doesn't have a stutter, you know. Peace, love, and Jeeps. Oh, or let me see what YouTuber says. And when tips come from social media creators were considered as frivolous. I mean, that's the thing. They are considered. That's why I'm saying I think that's where I'm also concerned with who's making these determinations. Right. And then we also know that Chris and Katie make sure that they're not showing their faces. So later on, in my opinion, they can say, well, that wasn't me. You can't prove that that was me. Right. That could be somebody that just sounds like me, you know, because they're trying to be slick. And when you're trying to be slick, that means that you're not being truthful, in my opinion. And Peace, Love, and Jeep says, yes, utter nonsense, in my opinion, YouTuber. You know, and it's aggravating, isn't it, Kiki? It is. You know, it really is. It's aggravating and it's frustrating because Sebastian's case should not be 2 years in with nothing, right? No evidence, no nothing. You know, it's like they want us to believe that Sebastian vanished. He didn't. He did not. And I will stand by that 100,000%, right? Because we know that that's not even an option. It's just the way it is communicated and has been communicated, right? They're just gone. Oh, I don't know. We lost a whole person. No, that does not happen. You know? You know, I think the handoff is the strongest piece of it. Thank you, Tori. I will check after the live. Thank you so much. You know, on the way home from the Texas Roadhouse, there is a spot, right, where there could have been a handoff. But there's also a couple other places as well, right? Like if Katie did do something like a handoff, there, you know, there's places where there aren't cameras. I'll just say that. The most logical and private location would be Stop 30 Road. That little area that we pulled off into when I was with Jen and Jeff. Right. That was an area where you pull, you know, off the side, you know, you turn in quickly, right? And somebody could absolutely be waiting there. No cameras, wooded around so you can't see through, and that sort of thing. And the cameras are not hitting over there because you know, the fencing and everything in that little subdivision across the street is all facing the other direction, and all you're seeing is just like, you know, privacy fences on the other side of the street over there. So it's not like people are pointing the cameras out towards the traffic, in my opinion. So, and you know, we have to remember too, people are asked to check their camera footage as well. So, and nothing, they're saying nothing, nothing, nothing. So that's why I deleted all my pics trying to help and getting nowhere. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean it's difficult, Michelle, and a lot of the pictures that you worked on were really, really good. I mean, I wouldn't let it get you frustrated, but I understand, you know, what how it is frustrating because I mean, I've sent them stuff and they, you know, I mean, it's not like they're gonna call me and tell me, but so I'm not expecting that. My expectations are set very low, so I don't get disappointed. But in the same way, I just would expect them to make sure that they're following up. But the thing is that I think that I think I would be wrong if I thought 100% that they're not onto Chris and Katie's BS. I think they are. I don't believe Chris and Katie or their false sense of safety. I think they're absolutely the ones that are being looked at and into. And the reason I believe that is because Chris likes to, you know, brag about it. So, Barb here, thank you for being here. Good to see ya. In my opinion, if she handed Sebastian off to someone, she needs to say she did and take the consequences of lying and making a false report. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be much easier on her if she was to do that, especially because allegedly she has a lawyer. So if she was to go in there and, you know, make a negotiate and say what happened or where they have Sebastian, what happened to Sebastian, I think that they would be in way better shape than if we all have to find out on our own. And that's something that they have to live with every single day. I can't imagine the weight that that would bring. I wouldn't want to carry that. So also, was cameras actually checked in Jackson at the Speedway? You know, I don't know, Kiki. And I saw your video too, which was really well done with JLR, and he was explaining apparently the Speedway lead was not Sebastian, to the best of my knowledge. You know, but I'm not sure. Um, I'm just not sure if they completely followed up on it or not. You know, it's also just so odd to me that they would clear the green hoodie person and that's the only person that they've cleared. Right? Yeah, absolutely, Kiki. Thank you. Because I mean, you know, it's a good reminder though that there's been leads that law enforcement, you know, I mean, we shouldn't have to tell them again, you know, the proper steps to take, you know, in order to find out information. They should be ahead of us on that, you know. And I do think that we see the guilt. I do. Marion says guilt in a mind can kill the body, and I think a lot of what we're seeing from Chris and Katie is faking it till they make it. But I also think that they are overly confident, and that's always going to get them in the long run, you know. Um, so guys, if you guys want to come out and search again, if you guys are going to be in the area, definitely let me know on Saturday. We're going to do a search. It's going to be let me see. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, Kiki, sorry, I got your message. Hold on a second. Jackson is only like an hour and a half from St. Jude. Oh, is it now is it on the is it on the way to his job like Like, would Chris have to pass that speedway in order to get back to work? I wonder. So we are, and I'm not going to give the details here, like I said, but I do want to give you guys at least a time so you can know if you'll be available or not. And I do believe, I want to make sure that I put it in here because I was thinking about 10 o'clock. Yeah, I think we could do a 10. Um, yeah, 10 a.m. start. And if you're interested, that'll be Saturday, and that will be the 1st of March, March 1st. In Henderson. It is going to be in Hendersonville. So just so you guys know, warm clothes, layers is good, boots, right? Because it is literally boots on the ground. And let me just make sure. I got to get my calendar. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We got the Saturday the 28th. Okay, I'm glad I checked that. So it'd be Saturday, February 28th. That will do a 10 o'clock start, and it will be in order to see if we cannot find or check off at least another spot, right? I'm a Cupcake too says the cell tower dump from midnight to 6 or to 5 or 6 a.m. Did Dick ever take a polygraph? How far from where the glasses were found to that spot? Well, I know those were found close to Chris and Katie's mom's house, the glasses that were found. And to the best of my knowledge, they never checked the prescription or anything, just asked if they were Sebastian's or not. And I would love to see those details. Yeah, the cell tower dump, midnight to 6. Yeah. Well, because, Chris is always referring to that time frame, and so is Katie, right? Because they were saying that they got off the phone around midnight. But even, they talked about a 2-hour call, a 3-hour call. We still haven't gotten any, confirmation on how long that call was exactly. The direction CP talks about, in my opinion, leads to Jackson. Oh, I-40. Are you talking about I-40? Also, Heather PI wants to meet him in Jackson, and he was with Carter in Jackson. Very weird, in my opinion. Yeah, he was saying that he was in that area. Yeah, and I don't know what office that would have been, if they went to meet each other for lunch or something. I don't know. That whole deal was strange, So aw, thank you, Witchy. Thank you so much for your prayers and just the well wishes and everything. I so appreciate you. And that's the best thing that we can do, guys, and then, like I said, I'll be streaming to, not probably a whole lot of the search. But I might, if it's not, I need to know, I need to kind of see what we're dealing with and where we're going and things like that, because I might just film it. And then upload it for you guys, so that way you guys can see it, but not alive, in case we find something, because you can't really unsee that or whatever. And I don't like to private my lives or anything, or take things down. So yeah, we need to search more, Kiki. I think that's like the next thing that we can do. And then also, go over a lot of these statements and things like that is always good. Fresh set of eyes, and what we know now is different than what we knew then. Hello, Tinks. Thank you for being here. I want to come, but it's going to cost me a small fortune in fuel. I know. Oh my gosh, I know. That's me. I'm a cupcake. I'm right there with you. I'm just making sure that I have, like, when I took the little car, it was great on gas though. But like the SUV is going to be a little bit more, but I know it's not like a big, gas guzzler that I've got either. So does anyone want a carpool from Washington State? Oh, I'd come get you if I could. You guys never know. Too, who's all coming from the same direction and things like that. Oh, absolutely, Tinks. Thank you so much. He does deserve it. Tinks says, thank you for your continuous coverage on Sebastian. He deserves it. Let's find him. Yeah, amen, Tinks. I'm really hoping that we can make an impact here. I know Betty was saying that her goal, one of her goals was to get a press conference, with some good info out there. I would really appreciate that as well. Um, there's just so much that Sebastian deserves. I mean, he just deserves much better than this. And again, with justice being delayed, it's almost it feels defeating, even though it also motivates me. So I mean, yes, do I feel like justice has been denied for Sebastian? Yes, I do. But I also think that, that means that we need to put more pressure on. We need to build more awareness. We need to let them know that we're not going to forget. So that's good, Michelle. I love nerds. I love nerdy people, right? Good, we got to think. There's FBI office in Jackson, but it deals with like DNA results and stuff and forensics. Okay, Kiki. Yeah, oh my goodness. So I wonder why he would have been over there. I mean, they could have just met in that location, right? Just because it was near where he was going to be, you know? If anybody's going from Indiana, maybe can carpool with Marilyn, or excuse me, Marilyn. Marion, also hello JH, aloha. Um thank you, Witchy. So yeah, that's pretty much what the plan is for the week. Hopefully we can spread some awareness. We can gather in hope and love and prayers for Sebastian, to remember him, to make sure everybody knows we didn't forget, and that we're not going to forget. I think there's still um a very big push in Sebastian's case um to find him. I think people genuinely do want to find him. And I think that the more people that we can get motivated to do just anything little, go recheck an area, check out a hotspot of Jen's, like I said, with her mapping and things like that. That's a good place to start, in my opinion. You know, it really is, because we don't have any new information. So let's see if we can't knock out some of the spots again. Um, and I don't want to even say definitively either way how I think or feel about what happened, because I don't know. But I do think that even other cases where we've had not such a great of an outcome, like in um, Jesse Farber's case, for instance, he was missing for 10 years, and they found him, or part of him, in the woods, right? And his wife had an approximate location for him, but it was just extremely difficult to find him. So, I mean, we just can't forget. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep trying. And then again, like I said, we have other cases where, I do think this case is parental. I do. I think this is a parental case. I do not think that, Seth had anything to do with it. No, I don't. I think that Chris and Katie absolutely had something to do with Sebastian's disappearance, whether they um have him hiding someplace, they put him somewhere. Another thing that always sticks with me is the fact that uh, Katie and Chris have always said they never thought that this was going to get. They never thought this would get this big, right? Never thought that people would care so much, and that we would want to find Sebastian. It That's why I try not to ever underestimate anyone. Because where there's a will, there's a way. But that's what we need is a will to find Sebastian, because that's where we'll find the way. Find out where he is, and he needs to be found. He deserves to be found. Um, in my opinion, if Sumner County Sheriff's Office is not going to follow up on anything, or they don't have anything else to offer to Sebastian's case, I think that they need to give it up. But that doesn't change another missing child coming along by someone who decided that they um didn't want their child anymore, or what have you. That doesn't help, right? If they're willing to do this to Sebastian, who else are they willing to do it to? I think it's very important for us all, even though we're not directly affected by Sebastian's case, that we are absolutely outraged at what is going on, right? And I'm not talking about feigning outrage or acting crazy or looting a store. I'm talking about genuinely concerned because it's a public safety issue where there's a missing child that went missing out of his home, and he didn't just vanish, but people want us to believe that. I think that that is a major problem in this case. I think it's a major problem that they only operated off of one assumption, didn't collect the proper evidence that was needed forensically in the home, never pressed Katie on her own in private. In my opinion, that was a huge fail. In a case like this, I think everybody needed to be polygraphed right off the bat by law enforcement. No questions asked. Do it. Right? Now, can somebody turn down a polygraph test? Sure. We have rights in this country. But if you have nothing to hide, then you hide nothing. Right? That's why I think it's important for us to look into other options in Devlin Tate's case, even though his family has volunteered to take a polygraph. They still have not taken it. We do not know the results, to the best of my knowledge, as we sit here today. But I'm willing to be patient and wait for those results to see what more we have to work with. And since they're volunteering, I think that that is, something to consider. So, and that's right. We never will forget about Sebastian Tinks. Thank you. Seth is not responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. No, I don't think so either, Marion. That's my opinion too. Tully says, lady, I need to send you maybe a theory, but I don't want to put it out in the open. Can you forward it to Seth? Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. And also, we are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com is a good place too, if you just want to email it direct too. But you can send it to me too if you would like me to see it. I would definitely like to, discuss and go over every possibility, even because I understand, there's some things that I haven't considered yet, even though I've racked my brain, sometimes you need to step back and then go back to it, Yeah, I wonder about that too. Michelle thinks protocol was ignored by default, it seems, so thank you. Thank you so much, Chuchi. They should have handled Sebastian's like this Alabama child's missing mom is being held without any body until she speaks allegedly. Oh, really? I didn't know that, Kiki. Is that Genesis, that little girl Genesis? Interesting. Yeah, they need to hold these moms, Oh, you don't know where your child is and you're the last one with them? Oh my God, could you imagine? I just can't even imagine. With nothing, right? And I mean, that's the thing. There's no evidence that he left the house, but Katie was the last one in the house. What does that tell you? You know, circumstantial evidence should be considered, in my opinion. And it's very hard to trust Ellie Tully. It really is. It's hard to trust them because they've not been truthful. And then they've changed their statements. Oh, Miss Ann, I know. Miss Ann says I'd love to go, but I have some responsibilities here at my house that I have to take care of, so I cannot go. But I would love to be there. I'll be there with you in spirit and in prayer. Thank you, Miss Ann. I feel that and I appreciate you. And that's what all of the love and everything, the good vibes, guys, that we're gonna feel that. We're gonna feel that during this time. I am very optimistic about my trip, even though I've had to change it and tweak it a little bit here and there, but I think it's a good use of time. And I think that, you know, it'll be something that's very, very helpful in the long run. You know, I think it's important and I think that we need to show up for it, so anybody that can, please do, but everybody else, just get ready with your green heart emojis and light that chat up green and, positive comments for Sebastian. All of that is necessary. All of it helps. All of it puts out positivity into the universe, which we know comes back to us, comes back to the situation. You know, Pixie Girl, hey, how much are they, the LE in Sumner County qualified? I mean, I think, in my opinion, that Sheriff Craddock is overqualified. That's what I'm wondering what his deal is. I'm wondering what his deal is. I really want to know. If I had a question for Eric Craddock, it would probably be the number one. Right? If he said, "I'll grant you 3 questions, like 3 wishes," one of them would be, "What's in it for you?" Because this has to be excruciating for you to put up a post looking for new employees, and all you get is questions about Sebastian. Because he's taken the heat for these 2 hoodlums. Yeah, Chris and Katie, in my opinion, are 2 little hoodlums. They hang out with hoodlums. The shoe fits, wear it. You act like a freaking hoodlum. So what's in it for Craddock? He's got Cluminati and her husband as spokespersons for Sumner County and the surrounding areas. Gallatin, Goodlettsville, right? Let him sponsor the Pig Fest. So what's in it for him? How does this not blow back on him and at least make him look incompetent, negligent, and like the world's biggest douche packer? Right? Because that's what he's proud of. He's proud of that area. Right? Because that's where he polices. So he should, figure it out. Because you have all these people. I mean, look at Terry Lynn lying on an officer of the law. That was okay with him. She didn't suffer any consequences for her actions, for her lies. I wish I could be there to search, but all of my prayers and love will be sent your way. Thanks, Lady Freedom. Thank you, Kylie's Nail Candy. Yes, and thank you so much for your kind message. I appreciate you guys. And look, Kylie is Australian. We have our Australian friends in here. Our friend Little Miss Sharon. It's amazing, the outpouring of love and support, right? We have people in the UK. We have people everywhere who know about Sebastian. We need even more people to be aware. It's so important at this 2-year mark to make sure that people remember people, and I love having new people here. So thank you to all of the new people, and don't be shy. Come out of the bushes. I'd like to know your thoughts. Lady, if you go live during the search, I don't get to go. I'd love to stream it and share it. Yeah, absolutely. I will do some streaming of the search, like from the, in the beginning and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely work that in. So Birds of a feather do flock together. Yes, they do, Marion. And thank you so much for the green hearts. I know it's unreal. It's unreal. Well, and I know like I was looking at some of the comments under Nick Barris's post. Some of the comments were good, some of them were some of them were just really, like they're like, how could those people talking about Chris and Katie sell their house? Well, they didn't sell their house. Okay. Well, so let's just, squash that rumor, right? They did not sell their house. They still live there, to the best of my knowledge. Now, do they have a fifth wheel? Yeah, they have a fifth wheel. They can live wherever they want. They can keep that house and move along in the fifth wheel. They can do whatever they want. They are not, they haven't been put under arrest yet, which I think, again, with me keeping the faith and the hope alive, I think that one of these days they're going to be. I really do believe that. I just don't think it's going to happen with Sheriff Craddock at the helm. And also she said, I quote, Chris is a good man, LOL. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he did not beat my son with the belt. Well, Katie, he did, right? Because he just bragged about it, Yeah, absolutely, Kiki. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Yes, it would be if my husband doesn't have to work. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love to see you, Kiki, and give you a hug. That's one thing, I just can't wait to meet with you guys. And like I said, I will be there. I'm not sure what time it starts. That's the only thing that I have to figure out. And I know Betty's on the road, and she was getting some sleep and gonna go out on the road. So I didn't want to bug her because I did watch her replay. So just to kind of see, what the plans have been, because plans change and things like that. So I want to make sure. So yeah, to the best of my knowledge, Betty's going to be on the road and stuff like that. So I didn't want to bug her. I might just text her, or figure it out while we're there. But I know that there's people traveling in, so I will definitely be there on the 25th and the 26th. Friday, I'll probably rest up a little bit because Saturday we're going to be going out doing the search. And then, I'll be driving home after that. Not the night of, because I was going to do the search and then drive home. But then I was like, you know what? Why am I doing that? I might as well just push my trip up, leave a little bit earlier, even though I know I'm going to get stuck in traffic at some point, somewhere. Sucks, but what are you going to do? Hopefully it's not in Atlanta. And but I think I'll be there closer to the nighttime. So at least we'll have that. But I'm definitely going to be on the road, so I won't probably come live tomorrow. Unless I do like a really short one, or if I have an update for you guys, I'll do that. But other than that, I'm going to finish up my signs. I got a couple of little finishing touches to do on that tonight. As well as packing up a little bit because I did a whole bunch of laundry just to make sure I'd have like enough pants and stuff like that, because it's going to be cold, right? So the weather is, now this is not, nobody can truly predict the weather, and Tennessee is a lot like Missouri, where it's like, if you don't like the weather, wait, right? That's a joke in Missouri. If you don't like the weather, wait. So, this might not be totally, how it goes down, right? But the forecast is supposed to be Wednesday, the 25th, is supposed to be a high of 59, a low of 54. Partly sunny. Then we have Thursday, which is a high of 59 and 32 low, with 80% chance of rain starting towards the afternoon. And then we have Friday, which is sunny, 58, 40. And then people will still be out there on the 27th, but I will not be there on Friday the 27th. We will be doing the search. If you want to do a search, 10 a.m. start time. I will give you the address if you email me, ladyfreedomsrawNarratives.at gmail.com, and you can also go in my description and find Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives at gmail.com and click on that link. It'll bring you right to my Gmail account, or right to your Gmail to send me an email. No apostrophe if you're just writing it out. But definitely get a hold of me for that if you guys would like to participate on Saturday, and that'll be February 28th at 10 a.m. Thank you, Witchy. Thank you, Chuchi. Thanks, guys. So yeah, I know exactly. Better to drive home after sleeping. Witchy, I know. But I did the same thing. I woke up at like 8 o'clock. I got ready. I went to the Texas Roadhouse. I went to the neighborhoods. I did all that kind of stuff. And then I drove straight home all the way through the last time. But that was kind of brutal. So I was like, okay, I'm going to, I'm going to space it out a little bit. So that's why I changed it up. And I'm glad I had that flexibility, because I know a lot of people, changing it up if you're flying is like way different than having. That's why I like to drive too, and it's not a horrible drive. It's really kind of a straight shot type of thing. So but yeah, we're going to be doing that, and so if you want to participate in that, please do. And then I think that's the biggest plan, the plans that I have for us, and then tomorrow I'm going to make sure I get up, or try to get to bed early so that I can get up early and pack everything up and head out early on Tuesday morning. So I love you guys so very, very much. Please put your notifications on so you'll know when I'm going to go live. I'll try to give you guys some notice before I do. But then again, there may be a time where I just go live, or something like that. I would love to go live with Jen too, where we stream on our channels like we did the last time. That was really cool, and we had some great conversation. So Kiki says I would only be able to go one day, so either Thursday or Saturday. Yeah, that would be great, Chuchi, or excuse me, that would be great, Kiki. I saw Chuchi's comment too. If you would like to do that, that would be wonderful. Just let us know. Whatever works well for you guys, and then the more the merrier. Especially people that we already know, because it does make me a little bit nervous. But then again, it's all for the same goal, is to find Sebastian. So hopefully we can get that ball rolling, and at least say that we did some searching for Sebastian, because he deserves it. He deserves to be found. He deserves to know that we're still looking for him. And I want to just convey that so it's such a strong message that if somebody is out there and they know that we're searching for them, that gives them hope. That gives them a sense of love and care, right? Just knowing that that we haven't given up, and that somebody's looking for them and somebody's trying to find them, right? And the best people that could be doing that is Sebastian's mother and his father, right? And so but we can all help as well. So I hope that it's a positive, and that we can get something going. So oh yeah, what YouTuber says, what the hell? But maybe because of the rain. All right, guys. Well, I love you guys. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And like I said, keep your notifications on, because we are absolutely going to go live. So, oh, great. I'm a cupcake. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. And you all have a wonderful rest of your day.